Welcome to the Alcohol Reset, the podcast that helps you reset your habits, health, and relationship with alcohol without judgment or extremes. If you're looking to cut back, take a break, or just understand how drinking can affect your body and mind, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you science-backed insights on neuroscience, nutrition, and habit change to help you feel better, sleep deeper, and take control on your terms. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, best-selling author, neuroscience enthusiast, and habit change expert. I've helped thousands through my book and podcast to rethink their drinking, and now I'm here to help you do the same. Let's get started.
Picture this for a second. You've just walked out of a bar or a restaurant. Nothing crazy, just a few drinks, catching up with friends, a normal night. You push open the door, step out onto the sidewalk, and suddenly, everything feels overwhelming. The streetlights feel harsh, almost aggressive. Your phone screen feels like you're staring straight into the sun. You're squinting, blinking, turning the brightness down, and it still feels like too much. If you've ever felt that, you've probably thought, why are these lights so bright? Maybe you even blamed the city. New LED lights, poor lighting design, something changed. But here's the reality. Nothing changed out there. Your nervous system changed. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, author of No Willpower Required and founder of Cloud9. And today, we're breaking down something most people experience, but almost nobody understands. Why the world suddenly feels louder, brighter, and more intense after drinking. Because what you're feeling in that moment isn't random. It's a real-time neurological shift. Let's start at the surface, your eyes. Your pupils act like a camera aperture. In bright environments, they constrict to limit how much light enters. In dark environments, they expand to let more light in. This happens automatically, instantly. You never think about it. But alcohol slows this system down. It interferes with the communication between your nerves and the muscles that control your pupils. So when you step from a dim environment into bright light, your pupils don't adjust fast enough. They stay too open, which means more light floods into your eye than your brain is prepared for. That alone increases glare, makes everything feel sharper, harsher, more intense. But that's only half the story. Because your eyes don't just receive light, your brain decides what to do with it. Normally, your brain filters visual information extremely efficiently. You're constantly surrounded by light changes, reflections, flickers, but you don't notice most of it because your brain smooths it out. It removes noise. It keeps your perception stable. Think of it like noise-canceling headphones. The noise still exists, but your brain neutralizes it before you're aware of it. Alcohol disrupts that system. It weakens your brain's ability to filter sensory input. So now, nothing gets filtered. Every glare, every reflection, every brightness spike, it all comes through, unprocessed, unfiltered, straight into your awareness. So it's not just that more light is entering your eyes, it's that your brain has stopped protecting you from it. And that combination is what creates that overwhelming feeling. Too bright, too sharp, too much. But to really understand why it feels so intense, you have to look at what's happening chemically. Because as alcohol begins to wear off, your brain doesn't just return to normal. It overshoots. Think of your brain like a thermostat. Alcohol pushes it toward calm. It increases GABA, your calming neurotransmitter, and suppresses glutamate, your stimulating one. So everything feels slower, quieter, more relaxed. But your brain wants balance. So while alcohol is still in your system, it starts compensating. It reduces GABA and increases glutamate in the background. Then the alcohol fades, and suddenly the calming effect disappears, but the stimulation remains. Now you're left with excess glutamate, and that creates a very specific state, hyperexcitability. Your nervous system becomes more sensitive, more reactive, more easily triggered. And in that state, light doesn't just look brighter, it feels sharp, uncomfortable, almost intrusive. Now layer in the fact that it's nighttime. Your eyes are already adapted to darkness, so when a bright light appears, a phone screen, a headlight, a street lamp, the contrast is extreme, and because your pupils are slow, and your brain isn't filtering, and your nervous system is overstimulated, that light hits much harder than it should. And this isn't just uncomfortable, it matters, because alcohol also affects how you process motion, depth, and distance. Your brain takes longer to interpret what it's seeing, and your visual glare recovery slows down. That's the time it takes for your eyes to readjust after a bright light. So even if you feel okay, your visual system is objectively impaired. This is why night driving after drinking is risky, not just because of reaction time, but because your brain is struggling to process light itself. Now, let's look at something people often mislabel. That feeling of being on edge, that tension, that irritability. Most people think, I feel anxious. But what if that's not anxiety? What if it's overstimulation? Your nervous system is firing more than it should. Your brain is taking in more than it can filter. So everything feels like too much. Not because you're emotionally overwhelmed, but because you're chemically overstimulated. And in that state, even small inputs feel big. Even normal light feels intense. Now add the physical layer. Alcohol causes vasodilation. Your blood vessels widen, including the ones in your head and behind your eyes. That creates pressure. Now combine that with an overstimulated nervous system and unfiltered sensory input, and you get something familiar, a headache, or the early stages of a migraine. That's why the eye sensitivity often turns into pain. The system is already overloaded, and the light becomes the trigger. And we can't ignore dehydration, because this part is simple but important. Your eyes rely on a tear film to stay lubricated. Alcohol reduces hydration. That layer breaks down. Your eyes become dry, more irritated, and more sensitive to light. So when you step back and look at it all, it's not just one thing. It's multiple systems stacking together. Too much light entering, a brain that isn't filtering, an overstimulated nervous system, pressure from widened blood vessels, and dry, irritated eyes. That's the perfect setup for sensory overload. Now, can you support your system? Yes, but not by forcing it. Certain compounds can help stabilize this state. L-Theanine helps smooth over overstimulation by interacting with glutamate pathways. Magnesium helps regulate nerve signaling and reduce excessive firing. These are the kinds of nutrients found in formulas like Daily Restore, not as a fix, but as support while your system recalibrates. Because in the end, nothing out there changed. The lights didn't get brighter, the environment didn't get louder. Your brain just changed how it experienced it. And that leads to a bigger question. If your brain can distort something as simple as light, what else is it quietly reshaping? Your sense of time? Your sense of space? Your perception of comfort? How much of what you feel is reality, and how much is just your chemistry interpreting it? That's something worth paying attention to. I'm Mike Hardenbrook. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you in the next session. Take care of yourself.
That's a wrap for today's episode. If you got something out of this, do me a quick favor, leave a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps keep the show going and would mean the world to me. Got ideas, comments, or questions? Shoot me an email at mike@trycloud9.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra support, check out Cloud9, makers of Daily Restore, a once-a-day supplement to support your body from alcohol's effects, and Rise and Unwind AM/PM, a 24-hour combo to curb cravings, balance mood, and improve sleep when taking a break. Go to trycloud9.com and use the code PODCAST to save 15% on your next order. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.